Yes, let's continue. So we have seen the framework of what goes into brand health. We have seen a sample questionnaire of brand health for soaps. Now, if that sample questionnaire was to be administered in the field with a sample size of 500 or 1000 or whatever it is, what kind of analysis outputs do we typically get? Right? We're not going to spend too much time on this. It is just an indicative thing. Remember, all figures here are completely hypothetical. Do not form any conclusions about any of these brands. These figures are hypothetical. They're not real data. Okay? So the first question is to remember is which one brand can you think of when I mention soap, right? Top of mind. So we find that if this percentage, y-axis is percentage by the way. So Medimix has got 34% top of mind. So 34% of the sample, when we asked them which one brand of soap can you think of first, 34% said, I can think of Medimix first. The corresponding figure was 15% for Synthol, 9% for Lux, 3% for Chandrika, and so on and so forth. So at the very first look, it looks like in this particular market, whichever market it is that we are researching, Medimix is the strongest brand because 34% think of Medimix first. It is a fact of market research that top of mind percentage is approximately equal to the current or most often percentage is approximately equal to the favorite brand percentage. So the brand that comes best in top of mind very often is actually the brand that is doing well in the market, right? Is this okay so far? The next question is unaided. All the brands that the person could think of without being shown the list. Before he's shown the list, what were brands he could think of? And here we find that Medimix, it was 34, it's 79. So it was 34 plus 45 takes it up to 79. Okay, and I think pairs or something was 3. I forget which brand it was, or was it Synthol? I don't remember. It was 3 plus 14 brings it up to 17, and so on and so forth. So here too, Medimix is the highest, followed by Synthol, followed by Rexona, and then maybe Dettol. On average, every consumer or every respondent remembers 5 brands. Is this okay? We'll go forward. Okay. Now, after this, we show them a list of brands.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yes, sure.
So when you say on an average, a consumer remembers 5 brands.
I should say a respondent remembers 5 brands in this survey. It's a better way to put it. Yeah.
Okay. So, but is it that everybody answered 5 brands, or is it that some answered 3, some answered 8?
Some answered 3, some answered 8, some answered 1, some answered 12. It's an average.
Okay.
Just a mathematical average. So the next is total brand awareness. So take Medimix for example. It was 34 in top of mind, 79 in unaided. So that's 79. Plus another 18% says, oh yes, I know Medimix when we show them the list. Right? Now, the significance of unaided awareness is, or top of mind, is that that's a brand that they'll feel like going out and buying. The significance of total brand awareness is that 100 minus 97 equal to 3 has no chance of buying this brand. Because they're not, even after showing the list, they're not aware of. But that's 3% for Medimix, which is the problem. But if we take Breeze for example, that's 100 minus 73. 27% of the market has absolutely no chance of buying Medimix, because even when they see the name, they're like, hey, no, I've not heard of this brand. Right? So that's the significance of total brand awareness as a measure. We'll go forward. You take.
We show
Yes.
them the. They look at the logo and tell that they are
They
not.
can look at the logo. They can just look at the name. It doesn't matter. But logo alone is not enough.
Okay.
It can be name and logo or just name. Traditional market research uses just name. So, like brand awareness, we ask them for which brand can you remember seeing advertising, and so this is top of mind advertising recall. Here too, Medimix is high, but these other brands are quite low, right? Like with brand awareness, we have unaided ad recall, and this is quite a bit lower than the brand recall. So if you remember, brand recall for Medimix was 79, it is only 60 here, right? So unaided advertising recall is quite a bit lower than the unaided brand awareness. And then we show them a list of brands and ask them, and here, there's a significant difference. So it was 97, but only 78 here. So there's a significant percentage of people who say, yes, I know the brand, but I don't remember seeing an ad for it. Is that okay? Now comes to a very interesting question, which is ad recognition, where we show the still from the ad without the brand name. So this is an example, mind you. So this is the ad. Let's assume that this was the ad that we actually showed.
Okay.
Now, 45% of people correctly recognize the ad. 43% say they don't even remember seeing the ad, or they don't know which brand it is for. 12% say, yes, I've seen the ad, but they give the wrong brand name. So this 12% is a real problem. This 43% is a desirable situation. So if we targeted 100 people with our advertising, only 45%, sorry, 45, not 43, 45% of the people who have noticed the ad and are correctly able to say it is for XYZ brand. Okay, this is for ad 1. If you remember, in the sample questionnaire, we had 2 ads. So this is for ad 2. So compared to 45% there, it is only 29% here. And compared to 43% there, which either doesn't remember the ad or says they don't know which brand it is for, it is as much as 62% here. So straight away we can say one thing. We can straight away say that ad 1 is significantly better than ad 2. Yes or no?
Yes.
I've been
Yes.
talking without a mic. I hope it's going to get captured, because ad 1 is 45,
45 and
this
ad
is
2
only
is
29. So ad 1 has clearly given us better results than ad 2 has. But together have they given us even better results? Let's look at that as well. So what is the recognition for any one? That is either 1 or either or 2. 48% recognize at least 1. So 45% is the first one, 29% is the second one, 48% is either one. So ad 2 has really not helped us at all, because ad 1 itself has got 45%, and even if you sort of take either ad 1 or ad 2, we still get only 48%. So ad 2 has not really helped us in any big fashion. That's what this data is telling us. Is this clear? Do you want me to go back over this? Ad 1 had 45% correct recall and recognition. Ad 2 had 29% correct recall and recognition. Therefore, ad 1 is clearly better than ad 2. Moreover, 48% correctly recognized either ad 1 or either ad 2. Right? One of the two at least is correctly recognized. And since that's only 48%, The incremental benefit from 45 of add 1 to 48 of add 1 is only 3. Right? And therefore, add 2 has really not done anything much for us. That is the conclusion that we take from this.
Okay.
It's just, of course, this is a significant input into brand communication strategy.
So 48% has only, okay, so 52% do not, are totally
Lost out.
Lost out for
Yeah. They failed to correctly recognize. Some of them might have said, yes, I remember seeing the ad, but they failed to correctly recognize the brand name. So there's no benefit to the brand.
Okay.
Only 26% recognize both ads. 48% was at least one. Only 26% recognize both the ads. So as a campaign, it has failed. Ad 1 by itself is a moderate success, but as a campaign, it has not been a success.
Okay.
Let's go forward.
Okay.
Okay, which brand do they use? Did I jump a slide? No. So which brand do they use currently? 28% uses Merimix currently. 9% uses Rexona. These 6 brands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, together account for 83%. 9 plus 7, 20. 20 plus 28, 48. Plus 8, 66. Plus 7.
Plus 8, 56.
Sorry, 56. 56 plus 17, 73. Plus 10, 83%. So these 6 brands together account for 83% of the market. All the other 20, 30 brands or 40 brands in the market are together accounting for only 17% of the market. So they're all minor players. These 5 or 6 brands are the major players. And within that, Merimix seems to have the highest percentage. Can we go forward?
Yes.
Which brands have they ever used? Meaning either they're using it now or they've used it in the past. So a large number of people have tried almost all the brands. So 89% has used Lux, 89% has used Merimix, 89% used Rexona, 89% used Merimix, 84% has used Lux, 88 has used Dettol, 83 has used Synthol. So many consumers have used 5, 6, 7 brands. Otherwise, you can't get these percentages. So even this 83, 89, 84 means people have used this and this and this and this in the past. So we are talking about ever used. So they could have used 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago. We don't know that. We're looking at out of all the brands that are used in the past, which brands are using now. Should we go forward?
Yes.
Which have I missed out anything? No. Right. So is a usage and behavior thing? We just have 2 questions here.
So
yes.
Just 1 second. Previous slide, 89% have said that they have used Merimix in the past.
Yeah. Whereas 28% are using it today.
Which 28% is using currently.
Exactly. And this is some, it was some 8 or 9 or something.
Lapsed from the brand.
Yes, 61% has lapsed from the bank. So 61% has lapsed. Quite right. But then it's not the same as lapsing in the past 1 year. They could have lapsed 10 years ago.
Okay.
Right? So it looks high, but it is ever used. It is not used in the recent past. Right? Let's go forward. So brands which they like to buy, meaning brands that they have a good opinion about. 67% for Merimix, 57% for Rexona, 56% for Synthol, 56% for Dettol, 47% for Santoor, 47% for Lux. So again, the same 6 or 7 brands are doing very well. 67% of people say, Merimix is one of the brands that I have a good opinion about. Okay. So this is the consideration set. And the average consideration set, consideration set in the sense of it's a marketing term, which means the brands that I would consider buy. The brands I have a good opinion about. So the average consideration set is 5 brands. Like we said, average unaided awareness number is 5. The average consumer has got 4 or 5 brands in its consideration set, not 1 or 2. They're like, yeah, I like this brand and this brand, this brand. I'll buy one of these brands. I'll stick within those 5 brands. That's an average. Again, some people could have 8, some people could have 3. Average is 5. Right? We'll go forward. Now, is there one favorite brand? Not brands. This is singular. Right? It's single response, remember. So, one favorite brand, Medimix is 29%. If you remember, I said some time ago, the top of mind is roughly equal to most often used brands, roughly equal to favorite brand. So top of mind was 34%, favorite brand is 29%. It's different, but it's not that different either. Right? So
current use was 28%.
Current use was 28% as well. So they're all more or less close to each other. Okay, so Medimix is by some distance the leader. But there are 5 or 6 leaders, and those 5 or 6 leaders are Rexona and Lux along with Medimix, also Synthol, Ocititol. Right? Let's go forward. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, in case I don't get the brand of my choice, which other brands am I open to purchase is the next question. And you know, there are good numbers for the same big brands here, Medimix and Lux and so on and so forth, right? This data is often not very actionable. The more actionable data point is actually the next one, the brands that they will not buy.
So in the previous slide, if
Yes.
Someone had not selected Rexona or Medimix, does it mean that it is a reject brand?
No. See, the point is this. If let's say 50% says I like to buy Lux, and only 5% says I'll accept Lux. You only have 50% liking Lux. This is not a problem. Now, if you're a small brand, let us say you're a small brand like Breeze. Right, we saw aided awareness itself is only 73% after AD. So let us say Breeze has got a liking figure of only 19%. Then we want to know if your liked brands are not available, what percentage of people picks Breeze. At that stage, if they are saying it is 40%, then at least we know, well, it is not in the liked brands, but it is in the accepted brands. Right? That is the relevance of this. For a big brand, this data is not very relevant. For a small brand, this data becomes extent to which at least I can come in as a second choice when the main brand is not available. So brands that they definitely not purchase, none of those big brands that we talked about, Medimix and Lux and Santur and Dettol and Peers are here. These are other names that so far we're not seeing in the slides. Ruchi, Nirma, Mullapu, Margo, Oliva, Nikki and Breeze. All these are 17, 18, 20%. And we can say with some confidence that these are brands that are really doing badly in the market. Because more than 20% is saying...
28% are saying none of these brands.
Oh, sorry, I'll forget. So it's none, right? Okay, yeah. So I'm talking about Nikki and Ruchi. These are brands about which the consumer is saying, I won't buy. And even these brands are borderline there. So these brands are rejected by a significant proportion of the target audience, which means that potential to do well is not very high. Understood how disposition works? Can we go forward? Brands ready to pay extra for. Now, so far we've been saying Medimix has got the highest share everywhere, but for the brand for which you'll pay extra is Synthol. So it has got something which makes it look premium to the consumers. Remember, this data is hypothetical. Don't ask me what is so special about synthol. This data is hypothetical. There's no real correlation between a brand and the percentages here. It is completely hypothetical. But in this hypothetical example, there is something about synthol which makes consumers feel that it is a premium brand.
So, is that good or bad? Will it come in the way of
yes, it will.
more people trying?
If synthol's target audience is the mass market, middle class consumers, and if they feel the brand is premium, it will limit the extent to which they'll buy it. But if synthol is talking to people who are per se people who like to buy expensive brands, let's say talking to the mindset, then the fact that synthol is seen as a premium brand will work in its favor. So it really depends on what you want to achieve. Right? So remember, brand management is also about what your goals are. Clear? We'll go forward. Okay, this is the question of, is it important which brand that you buy? Only 33% say it is very important. %46% say to some extent. %20% say does not matter. So this is the category where the involvement is not as high as we would think. I mean, I would imagine that I'm very particular about which soap that I use for my skin because I can have rashes, etc., etc., etc. But that's not what the market is saying. The market is saying that only 33% of the consumers feel that it's very important which brand to choose. 40% says, yeah, it matters to some extent, but it's okay, we can buy some other brand as well. So the loyalty is only there to a certain extent. Now, this correlates positively with saying that consideration set is 5 brands. If people were saying it's extremely important which brand that they use, the consideration set will be narrow. They'll say every single time I want to buy the same brand or just 1 out of 2 brands. The fact that they're ready to buy 1 out of 5 brands itself is an indication that they're not that particular about using the same brand every single time. Right? Clear how you correlate between data with data points as well? We'll go forward?
Yes.
Okay. This is the imagery questions. If you remember, we had a series of statements: makes skin soft, which brand will you associate with that, so on and so forth. So this is percentage. Every line represents 1 brand. Okay? So doesn't make skin dry is strongly associated with these 2. And these 2, this is Lux and this is Chandrika. Right? Smell lasts for a long time. This is Synthol and this is
Red as well.
Rexona. Where is red?
It's
It's sitting here. Oh, red is here. Sitting here. Sorry. So red as well. Right? That's where we read this. So the height of the line indicates the strength of association because that's a percentage. So you take this brand for example, Pierce. It is in general, it's a bottom everywhere, but it is okay for the smell lasts long. Otherwise it's low here as well. Is it okay? So if every line tells us a story for how the brand performs, all the lines together tell us how the brands perform in a comparative context. I mean, we can't first draw the line only for players and then we can draw the line only for Dettol, etc., etc., etc. We can do that. Is that okay? And this is, meant for people like me, meant for upper class people, meant for middle class people. So what is meant for upper class people? This is so high here. Which is this brand? This is Synthol. We've already seen that. Synthol is a brand which is obviously prepared to pay extra. This is clearly telling you that it's meant for premium people. Now, is that good or bad? It depends on whom you want to talk to. But there is a trend there.
At what point would you say that this is a significant number of people who are associating?
That depends on the relative. If you have only 2 brands in the market, then you want everything to be somewhere here.
Okay.
If you have 40 brands in the market, you're okay even if it is here. It's a competitive context,
Okay.
right? I mean, it's like if you're playing for a country with not many cricketers, you would want to play every test match because there's not that much of a pool of talented cricketers. If you're playing for a country which has many talented cricketers, you're happy to get your chances. In a 5-test series, you're happy to play just 3 or 4 tests also. Now, if you say look for, say, gives confidence, for example, as a parameter. Now, the red one, which is Medimix, is the one which is doing best at this. But Synthol is also doing well at this. Right? So this is how this kind of data is interpreted. Okay, so far?
Yes.
So I've finished this here. Now I want to stress one thing. What technique have we used right through this analysis? We have used percentages. Right? We all learned percentages back in 8th standard. Using percentages, we have been able to conclude that the market has 5 or 6 big players. The biggest of them all is Medimix, right? The other good players are Rex and Synthol and Rexona and Synthol and Lux and Dettol, and that Synthol is seen as a premium player, and that brands like Breeze and Ruchi and Nirma are pretty much rejected by the market. Correct? And therefore we've also got an idea about if you were Breeze, what you need to do. You have to increase your awareness, you have to increase your positive disposition. If you were Rexona, you know what you need to do from this data. At the start of the course, I said market research is not statistics. Without using any advanced techniques or even basic techniques, simple percentages have told us a very powerful story of where the brand is today and what is needed to be done to take the brand forward. Okay, so in questionnaires we use simple wording. In analysis, percentages will tell you 90% of the story. More powerful techniques are required on a case-to-case basis, not on a day-in and day-out basis. So shall we pause this particular chapter?
Can we do a regression analysis across all these parameters?
On this data, regression is not relevant. Regression works on something called metric scales, which also we covered. This is percentage data, it's nominal scales, remember. So regression is not relevant. Right? Okay, so association scales are nominal scales.
Okay.
They are not metric scales, remember that. Which brand is associated with which statement, that's a nominal scale. Shall we stop this chapter here?
Yes.
Okay.